same award show categories and playlist or whatever. We have to go 10 times harder to be in them same categories. These males are.
There's people that respect me all through the streets, but they're not going to put my pocket. A lot of people don't want to come to it. The future of hip-hop, what does that look like to you, and what do you want? I really predict that female artists are going to be bigger than male artists. You got to respect their hustle. They have a good work ethic. I want to always put the comfort. I want to make people uncomfortable. That's how you change the world.
The more we got legends being created and these people who are like, I'm going to fight for what it needs to be, hip-hop is going to change and it's going to elevate them.
The future of hip-hop at bbcworldservice.com/documentary.
Now to come on news, why a growing number of Japanese people think that late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated earlier this year, shouldn't have a state funeral. Also, we'll be looking at the pounding pound and the super strong dollar. What does it all mean for the global economy? And the looming competition for rare earth minerals. It's all coming up after the news.
BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. The Russian authorities have admitted that errors have been made in President Putin's mobilization of hundreds of thousands of men to fight in Ukraine. His spokesman said there had been cases where the president's decree had been violated. His comments follow reports that disabled men had been called up, while others had no military experience. Russia has confirmed that it's had what it calls sporadic contacts with the United States, with both sides warning the other about the dangers of nuclear escalation. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, earlier said it had made clear to the authorities in Moscow that the consequences could be horrific. The controversial Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia has begun leaking into the Baltic Sea, potentially releasing large amounts of methane. The opening of the pipeline was cancelled after Russia invaded Ukraine. However, gas had already been pumped into the pipe and is now escaping at a spot just south of Sweden. The Bank of England says it won't hesitate to take action to control inflation after the pound soared to a record low against the dollar. Financial markets were rattled by Friday's announcement by Britain's new finance minister of big tax cuts funded by borrowing. A human rights group says at least 76 people have now been killed during a wave of unrest in Iran. It has lasted 10 days. Iran Human Rights, based in Norway, accused the Iranian security forces of firing directly at protesters. A referendum in Cuba has approved planned social reforms, including the legalization of same-sex marriage. About two-thirds of voters supported the new family code. And the American Space Agency's plan to send its most powerful rocket towards the moon has suffered another setback. An approaching hurricane has prompted NASA to decide to remove the Artemis 1 craft from its launch pad. BBC News.
You're listening to News Hour. Japan is preparing to hold a state funeral for its former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was shot dead during an election rally in July. To his admirers, he was a statesman who recognized the threat from China long before others did. But more recently, some have expressed opposition to the state funeral because of his foreign policies. From Tokyo, Rupert Winfield Hayes reports.
There is an enormous typhoon currently sweeping across Japan, bringing torrential rain, but that has not stopped between 10 and 15,000 people turning out here in Tokyo today to show their adamant opposition to Shinzo Abe having a state funeral. Since his death back in July, it has been extraordinary to see the growth in opposition to him having a state funeral. Nearly 60% of Japanese now think it shouldn't happen.
There are banners here accusing Abe of corruption and cronyism. There are others that say the cost of his state funeral is too high. But there is one slogan I see here over and over and over. No to war. Abe made Japan able to go to war and fight again, this woman tells me. That is why I'm against him having a state funeral. These people believe deeply in Japan's pacifist constitution, and they believe Shinzo Abe trashed it. In 2014, Mr. Abe forced through legislation that bypassed Japan's constitution and allowed Japanese troops to fight beyond its borders for the first time since World War II. After Mr. Abe's killing at an election rally in July, there was an outpouring of shock and outrage that such a crime could happen in Japan. But then his state funeral was announced and the mood shifted. Even some of Mr. Abe's strongest critics, like Professor Koichi Nakano of Tokyo's Sophia University, have been taken by surprise.
I'm actually surprised that the opposition to the state funeral has gone up so much more. I think it has most to do with the fact that Abe is seen as somebody who is not accountable to the his people, and so whatever he did against the principles of democracy.
The scale of these protests shows just what a divisive figure Shinzo Abe remains even after his death. About half the country says his legacy is problematic. On the other side, around a third think he was a visionary who saw the balance of power in Asia shifting and did what was needed to get Japan ready. Professor Kazuko Suzuki is a former Abe advisor and is very interested in the second time.
The rising China will report the balance of power in the region.
But Japan is still a country deeply scarred by war. Memories of the atom bombing still pervade the society. Mr. Abe's vision is that Japan should be a country able to defend itself and able to fight alongside its allies if necessary. But he never asked the Japanese people. It's clear many continue to reject that vision of their future.
That report from Rupert Winfield's page there in Tokyo. Listening to News Hour live from the BBC in London, I'm Rebecca Kesley. Now here in the UK, there is one big story ruffling nerves today, and it seems broadcasters around the world are equally agitated.
Fair to say British pound is the worst performing currency all weekend and all of today.
The British pound plunging to a new record low. I woke up this morning with this headline.
Well, as the market opened this morning, the pound was slumping to a record low against the dollar, all major currencies. This is on top of plummeting levels on Friday following the announcement of the new government's mini budget. Britain's central bank has said Britain will hesitate to take action to control inflation. Many suspect the Bank of England will announce a substantial rise in interest rates to try to control inflation. Well, Edwin Truman was director of the International Finance at the US Federal Reserve back in 1985, which was the last time the dollar was so strong against the pound. Today, he's a senior fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School, and he joins us live on the line now from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for coming on, sir.
My pleasure.
Well, now, where can we start? The tanking pound or the robust strength of the dollar? Let's start with the dollar. Why is it so strong at the moment?
Well, the dollar is particularly strong because the United States has been raising interest rates more rapidly than other major countries recently. And it also has benefited from the better recovery than most other countries. It is less impacted by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the economy is doing relatively well compared with European economies and even Japan. So it's generally pretty strong, and the Federal Reserve has bullet.
Okay. I mean, a lot of policies are also slightly easy to say, but the pound sterling does seem to be a very dramatic fall. Looking at it from your side of the Atlantic, how do you assess the situation in Britain at the moment with those rates falling?
Well, the former central banker, I am always have trouble commenting on other countries' policy situations. It does seem that the new government in the United Kingdom has had some missteps, at least as interpreted by the market, and fresh governments often are tempted by the market, and this government is no exception to that. The announcements on Friday were a surprise, I gather, They're bold and perhaps too bold, and the market is not convinced that they will do the trick in terms of the UK recovery.
Yeah, and the current government, the new government, is getting plenty of criticism about all of that in the UK from its own side as much as anywhere else, and former chancellors.
It's also fair to say the last move by the Bank of England was 50 basis points, and then the Federal Reserve came in on top with the 75 basis points, and that was not a nice comparison. So I think the market may be a little nervous that the Bank of England is holding back, maybe in light of the new government. But that's, it's not uncommon that central banks are generally moving rates higher, but central banks are sort of go slightly more slower, get some reaction in the foreign exchange market.
Let's go back to 1985 and what happened then. Just remind us why the pound was sinking against the dollar back then.
Well, the dollar was very strong against everything at that time. It had recovered from the doldrums of the 1970s, if I may go back even further. We had a relatively tight monetary policy, an expansionary fiscal policy, and President Reagan had just been reelected, and the U.S. economy was in very good shape. Well, not super good shape, because the dollar was very strong at that time. It peaked shortly thereafter in February or March, depending on which index you use, and was causing trouble in the United States as well, because there was protectionist forces beginning to build against the weakness of the strength of the dollar in what we call the Rust Belt.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? A strong dollar isn't necessarily a great thing for the USA either. Looking back to what happened in the 80s, how was the fall stemmed, if you like, of the pound? Was there sort of government intervention back then?
Well, there was a bit of a change in cast of characters, because in the second Reagan administration, Jim Baker and Don Regan traded places, and Jim Baker became Secretary of the Treasury. James A. Baker III was a much more activist fellow. He had attended a meeting on the 17th of January, as he was suggested to Chairman Volcker, that a dinner meeting of the G5 had taken place during that day. Dick Baker, the incoming Secretary of the Treasury, be invited to the dinner at the Federal Reserve, to know his counterparts, and they decided to put out a paper.
All right, well, we must leave it there, but Edwin Suman, thank you so much for joining us live on the line from DC, Edwin Suman from the Harvard Kennedy School. Now, rare earth metals, or so-called rare earths, are something that we are going to be hearing a lot more about, because they are essential to just about all technology in the modern world. The problem is they're expensive, and the extraction of them is environmentally very damaging. The other potential problem is that at the moment, about 90% of rare earth metal production is being done in China, which gives the country a substantial monopoly over these crucial